Hello, my name is Jonathan Swift, the Content Director of Infopro Digital's Insurance Division, and welcome to another Insurance COVID cast brought to you by Insurance Post and Insurance Age. And today we have yet another of our Insurtech specials linked to the Insurance Post and Sonar Insurtech 100. Today we'll be focusing on property and contents insurance. Now I'm delighted to say, joining me for the discussion today, we have Getsafe CEO and founder Christian Wiens, Hippo Insurance Chief Insurance Officer Rick McCatheron, and Urban Jungle CEO and co-founder Jimmy Williams. Welcome all.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, thank you.
So I suppose the first question is, I'll come to you first of all, Jimmy. What have been the most significant developments within your business over the last year?
So I think, I'm sure it'll be a bit of a theme as you've done these over the last couple of weeks, but definitely feels like it's been the year where Insurtech has kind of come of age. We've got past that sort of early stage where there's sort of scrappy little startups out there trying to work things out. And actually you've got some businesses scaling pretty quickly. So you've got, 3 people in this room now who've got an awful lot of customers between them, and it's probably scaring some of the big insurers now for the first time, which is quite fun. So I think that's really been the big changes. There's been a big kind of doubling down in what seemed to be a few sort of winners in the Insurtech space, and they're actually getting to material customer numbers.
Christian, are you scaring the big incumbents?
I mean, kind of. We also partner with big incumbents, so it's a little bit of both. But we also announced, or not announced, we applied for becoming a carrier. We're acting as an MGA right now, and we'll keep acting as an MGA. We kind of believe in the platform approach where you kind of do both pretty well. And in terms of what Jimmy was saying, in terms of kind of customer numbers, we just earlier this year surpassed 100,000 customers. What we are proud of is that our customers are comparably young. So average age is in their mid-end 20s, like 28 years. And normally that's people that never bought insurance before and kind of are with us exploring new way to buy insurance on their mobile phone, which makes us proud. So it's still a small number compared to the size of the industry, but in that kind of niche demographic, I think we're making a point here, at least in Germany, and that makes us pretty proud.
I'll come to you, Rick. I think the idea of being an MGA, looking to diversify into insurance, is something that very much rings true with you.
Yeah, it does. We, of course, we fully embrace the MGA model. We recently announced that we are in the process of acquiring Spinnaker Insurance Company, that was our largest fronter. But it's not because we want to become an insurance carrier. It's because we wanted greater control of the value chain and our ability to grow and expand geographically. So we absolutely think the MGA model has lots of advantages. It gives you flexibility, optionality. It lets you partner with other carriers. But if you're, as we all are, fast-growing organizations, then you sort of are dependent on the capital that your carriers have. And if they don't have ample capital, they could sort of shorten or stymie your growth a bit. And so we felt that it would be a good next step for us to make sure that we took that thing that is outside of our control and put it within our control.
Now, all of you have touched on this, but can I just ask, Insurtechs, I won't use the word because it is basically, I think the word before is you're trying to basically take down the incumbents. It was disrupting. That's the word, disruption. You were there to disrupt the incumbents. That word seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside. But as Insurtechs, you are ultimately, I think, seeking to shake up and change traditional insurance process and perhaps how insurance is sold. How amenable have you found the sector to your new ideas? I'll start with you, Rick.
Yeah, very much. As was said previously, we partner with significant incumbent insurance companies, and in some cases we sell their products if it's a product we don't have. In other cases they sell our product if it's a product they don't have or a geography they don't have. I find that most of the people within the incumbent space actually embrace the modernization of insurance, certainly with what we're doing at Hippo. The biggest challenge they have is because of the sheer size and mass, the legacy systems, that it makes it difficult for them to transition into what Insurtechs are able to do. But I truly believe if they recognize you truly as what I like to call the full stack Insurtech, which means, Insurtech's made up of two words, insurance and technology. And if they view you of having some pedigree on the insurance side, they're generally, I think, embracive of what we're trying to do. Do they get nervous from time to time? And are they worried about, all of our collective capabilities? I think, yes, they are. But I think a lot of them are frankly looking to see how they can partner or acquire to get some of that skill set internally.
Jimmy, are you having that same experience in the UK?
I think it's quite nuanced and quite segmented. I think there are a certain number of insurers here who are pretty close to the whole idea. They've kind of built some walls around themselves and said, look, we're setting the tone here. And, actually online penetration of insurance in the UK is pretty high, right? So they feel like they've done innovation. They feel like if a customer can do some small thing online, then that's them done. But equally, particularly the insurers that haven't been able to access that in the same way are much more open to working with us. And I guess, it comes back to the fundamentals of the MGA model. Think about it in really basic terms. We sell insurance policies that start at £5 a month. And if one of our customers could buy one of those policies and literally turn around the next day and make a claim for £10 million on the liability component. So fundamentally, we can't balance sheet that, and no startup can balance sheet that. So we have always had to, and for certainly a long period of time, or always will have to work with people with much bigger balance sheets than us. So that means that there is quite a sort of natural tie-in, and we're both incentivized to work together. The insurers to get the distribution that they need and want, and for us to get the kind of balance sheet that we need. So we've certainly found those relationships quite harmonious. They are the thing that's the most difficult is about speed. So the guys are talking about already. That's the real reason that Insurtechs get tempted to make carriers is about speed and being able to move and change quickly. But I think we've been lucky in our partners that they have been flexible. They have allowed us to move quickly. They've moved along with us. So as long as you're doing that, who wants a balance sheet? Really, it's a very capital intense thing to have. So I think sort of carefully thinking about that is important.
Finally, I'll come to you, Christian.
Sure. I think our perspective is a little bit different. That's why we made this step of kind of applying for a carrier license, is that we are extreme in kind of one dimension, is that, again, we have a young demographic that we're targeting. It's more the Instagram, TikTok demographics, so really young people getting involved with insurance, and we are mobile only. So everything you do it through our mobile app. And I think we found it to be difficult sometimes to explain, especially to insurance professionals, what the difference between, Jimmy mentioned that, but being online and being able to buy a policy online and kind of building a mobile kind of insurance provider from scratch, that's two very different things at the end of the day, because one is a product that people take out regularly, they use it, they engage with you, you collect very different data that you then want to also apply to your cross-selling, underwriting, and like having a website where perhaps you sell a policy online, like others did direct interest in the past, may feel a little bit more familiar. So for us, it has been easy to partner with carriers, let's say on a more traditional level, let's say just sell a digital policy online, but difficult to convince them of what the power, or which power and which new kind of dimensions we are unlocking through the fact that we engage with our customers through a totally different channel on a way more regular basis. A third of our customers use our app every month because we provide a lot of content. And the young customers, of course, want to buy more insurance over time, right? So they are getting it through all these life stages and marrying, buying a home and this kind of stuff. And still coming for them. So it's still something they have to go through. So I think that's, in addition to what the other said, perhaps something that we feel there's still a disconnection, but it's also early. I think digital insurance has made big steps in the last years, but really putting insurance in mobile devices for very young customers and consumers and changing the way we engage with customers on a more regular basis that's still day one from our perspective.
Can I ask, Christian, from where you're sitting, how has Getsafe adapted to the COVID-19 world? I mean, I know we're kind of probably coming out of it, and you're coming out of it quicker in Germany. But as a business, I mean, how would you say you adapted and reacted to the pandemic?
We were in a very lucky situation, to be honest, because our sales grew 20% after kind of the whole crisis started in March, early March. And that was because of different reasons. First of all, the German market has been pretty relaxed in regards to COVID-19. Also, regarding the whole health situation here of the population. Secondly, we are in a segment, for example, we don't offer car insurance. We're focused on like contents, renters, and liability insurance mainly. And we're selling it totally digitally, which I think is always a big advantage if you compete with channels that are more, let's say, offline and personal. So that was a booster for us. Plus, I think that especially for younger customers, if you look at the Maslow pyramid, for them kind of safety is still a basic human need, but it's not kind of top of mind when in very good times. But when bad times are coming, I think they start thinking about that a little bit more. And I think that boosted our sales a little bit because younger customers started thinking about protection a bit more than before. And of course, I mean, as a digital tech company, we laid the organizational foundation before the crisis of working remotely and all this kind of stuff. So I think that wasn't a story or an issue for us that was working well before as well. So not affected too much, rather in a positive than negative way for us. But again, also because of lucky circumstances.
Rick, go to the US. How have Hippo adapted and reacted to COVID-19?
Yeah, very, very similar to what Christian said, with a few changes. Of course, we had the tech stack to everybody work from home. We literally turned the switch overnight. And we were not a work from home environment before. Everybody worked in the office. And one evening we made a decision to have people work from home. And so they grabbed their computers and they worked without any hitch. It was surprising to me that we could take, close to 300 people and say, all right, we want everybody to work from home and work from home effectively. From a business perspective, we've seen the same thing. We continue to grow. Ironically, March was a record month for us. April would have been a record month if it had as many business days. And so we haven't seen a slowdown of our business at all. And one thing I think that has helped us is, unlike Christian, we actually have a very broad distribution strategy. I like to call it an agnostic one. However the customer wants to interact with Hippo, we've built partners and technology to do so. So a good chunk of our business, of course, is direct to consumer online, but we have other insurance companies, we have insurance agents, we have partnerships like, home builders and loan originators. The sort of the home builders and loan originators slowed down a little bit, but the direct to consumer stuff popped up because people have more time on their hands and wanted to save more money. So we've been relatively isolated, and even homeowners' claims have been reduced a bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. The frequency is ironically up slightly because if you spend all your time in your house, you're using your home systems more frequently, and you're flushing the toilet a lot more, and you're doing a lot more loads of laundry. That puts some pressure on the house, but the severity has gone way down because when you do have that interior water leak, you're there to see it, and you get it fixed. At least shut the water off and get it fixed right away. So it has not been a negative situation from the business. Of course, we're trying to do everything we can for our partners and our customers, making sure that they're well taken care of. We have a proactive home health company, a home care company that was called Shelter, that's now called Hippo, that did home health checkups. We've had to switch those to virtual, almost like a telemed kind of home health checkup, but that's worked well also.
Finally, I'll come to you, to Jimmy.
Yeah, I think similar story overall. So both March and April were record months for us as well. I think we're up sort of over 350% year on year. So not overly impacted, which is great, and we feel very lucky. I think you look around, you have lots of friends in businesses whose revenue's gone to zero overnight, and I guess that's made our lives a lot easier. I think the nature of demand seems to have really changed. So in the home market, our view at least is that a lot of people buy at the point they move house. And obviously no one's been moving house for a period of time. So there was definitely, that seemed, that sort of stream of demand seemed to drop. But then the other time people buy insurance when they're switching their policies when it comes up for renewal. And you know what? Everyone's looking for a better deal right now. Everyone's out there. They're at home. They've got time to do their research. They're thinking about where am I going to get a better deal from? And good news for us, I guess, we're a really value-driven, low-cost insurance option for people. So that's been I guess a root of our success through the crisis. And again, we were able to operate without a blip on customer service, without a blip on any of our operations, for the same reasons as the other guys I mentioned. Claims have been interesting, definitely very different type of things, similar experience of much higher incidents, lower severity, quite a lot of funny stories. I think people actually, now they're at home and they're filling out our claims reporting, and they've got a bit more time to be creative and really express the situation and the background that led to the claim. So reading some of those stories has been quite interesting. One chap, I think, he had a bee fly up his short leg, and that led him to dropping his phone down the toilet. I think that was one of my favorite ones. So all sorts of weird and wonderful stories. But I guess for us, yeah, it's business as usual. And in the UK, one of the things that has happened already is people are now allowed to move house. And actually last week, I think, home moves were back at more than pre-lockdown levels for the first time. So hopefully, it's early days, but starting to get back to normal.
And I say congratulations, all of you making the Insurtech 100. I have to ask, I'll come to you first, Jimmy. What is on the to-do list the next 12 months? I know you just did a raise just before, or actually during lockdown, I suppose it was announced. But yeah, what does that mean you can do over the next 12 months now with those funds, your plans?
Yeah, I mean, obviously as you go into, a sort of recessionary period like this, you're always worried that it's going to be a challenging time. So I think that was something that's been on our mind. But I've always said to the team since this started happening that my experience of previous recessions is that as you come out of them, there's a huge amount of opportunity, and you see new bits of demand rising that have never been before. People's habits change. Businesses are doing different things. They're getting let down by suppliers in other places. There's just lots of things you can do that you've never been able to do before. So a lot of that is just being really agile. When you're in a really fast-moving market that changes a lot, really keeping close to your customers, keeping close to your suppliers, keeping close to everything, and being prepared for what happens, because who knows what's going to happen next. I guess for us, if we sort of put the crisis to one side, a lot of it is about scaling. So, we've got a proposition that our customers really love. And we just need, we want to go and find more customers and tell more customers about our business. So a lot of the funding is putting towards growth, really.
Christian, I'll come to you. What are the plans for Getsafe over the next 12 months?
Yeah, for us, what was stopped a little bit by the COVID-19 situation was definitely our market expansion. So we recently launched in the UK, but kind of tried to operate initially operate other markets from Germany, and that has made things a little bit more challenging. And we also had plans to expand to further European markets, as we see Europe as the big kind of opportunity for us. Being based in Germany is that we have essentially a European marketplace that has not too much of regulatory barriers. I think it's probably easier to expand to France than within the US, state by state, because you have a thing called passporting. You can sell financial products in all countries. So I think we want to leverage this with the technology and product we have built. And yeah, that has been stopped a little bit, but we'll catch up with it soon, later this or early next year. So expand it to more markets and grow these markets. And then I think the most important thing for us, so we started the business in 2015 with the idea of building a multi-line insurance, a digital multi-line insurance carrier or company, which is of course complex. It's more complex than, let's say, focusing on just one business line. And I think making this happen is on our agenda, and we have started proving that our young customers, again in their end 20s, buy also more products from us in a fully automated cross-selling approach. So they start buying things like legal protection insurance or dental coverage that are more complex, more, let's say, expensive products than that you buy in a later stage in your life than a home contents insurance. And that's something we're really focusing on, automating advice for young and insurance education for young consumers in a fully automated mobile way. And we think that's also pretty new to the, let's say, Insurtech world. And the big vision is to go away from policy shopping for consumers to let's say a monthly membership where you have all things protection in one place, and you don't like buy single policies anymore, perhaps even from different carriers, but you have that one membership that is flexibly expandable when your life changes, right? And that's what we want to build. Pretty complex, and we will just go on building it as we did before.
And finally, I'll come to you, Rick. Obviously, the Spinnaker deal has got to go through, probably be cleared, but that's obviously a sign of intention for the next 12 months for you at Hippo.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting. We thought pre-COVID that this was the year that the market, both the industry and sort of the financial market, were going to start picking winners and losers a little bit within the Insurtech space and really doubling down on those they deemed that had gotten sort of velocity and been successful. And we think that, frankly, this is probably going to accelerate that because of some challenges that some of the folks that we've talked to have had. And that will allow us, I think, because we're well capitalized, we're in good shape, we've got lots of customers, and we're at scale now. So we'll likely get more aggressive than we have and sort of take advantage of the opportunity to do so. Geographical expansion is significant for us. So we're currently live in 26 of the 50 states. Our goal is to be in 35 by the end of the year, doubling down our home protection products and our IoT strategy and who we partner with on that, and really try to get into 2021 with sort of terminal velocity and really having some I would say more aggressive moves on both our top line and, frankly, our bottom line. And by bottom line, I mean underwriting profitability. And most of that is generated to geographical expansion, sort of get out of the states that there's lots of hail and tornadoes and start going into states that have a little less of that.
And is international expansion at all on the Hippo radar?
It's not, at least not now. The homeowners market in the U.S. is $100 billion market, and it's growing about $5 billion a year. We are very content filling out our U.S. footprint, and then we'll see. But we think, despite our growth and success, we think we've just sort of tip of the iceberg, and we'll stay focused. We think that when you lose focus, that's when things can go wrong. And we think focus is everything to a startup, and we're going to stay focused with that, at least for the foreseeable future.
Okay, excellent news. All right, well, again, I'd like to thank my panel of Rick, Christian, and Jimmy. Thanks very much, all of you, for giving up your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks all.
As I mentioned at the start, this is brought to you by Insurance Age and Insurance Post. If you want to subscribe or register to either title, then please use the tab in the banner, which you can see here. We have one more of these Insurtech 100 specials to come. So until the next COVID cast, it's goodbye from me and stay safe, everybody. Cheerio.